Hello everyone! Welcome to the new space. It's still coming together. It's looking a bit dark back there, but we still got to put up the fairy lights and a bunch of other colored lights. So it's all coming together, but I wanted to make sure that I had something to bring out for you guys because I've got a lot of things that I need to talk about, quite frankly. So today we are going to be reviewing some of your unpopular Taylor Swift opinions. Now, I asked you all on Instagram to give me some opinions that you have about her or about her music or about, things like that. And I was given quite a few interesting things from all of you. So thank you so much. If you would like to be part of these kind of opinions videos or like whenever I take audience interactions as part of my videos, definitely feel free to follow me on Instagram because I pretty much exclusively ask on there just because it's easiest to collect all of the info. So yeah. And if you enjoy these kinds of videos, feel free to leave a little subscribe for me on this YouTube channel. With a subscription, you'll be notified about all of my new videos so that way you won't miss a single bloody thing. Especially in this new house, there's so much happening. And also, like I mentioned in my last video, there's so much happening in the next month. So keep your peepers peeped, get locked in, guys. There's so much to talk about. So what did you guys have to say to me? So the first of them being Taylor Swift is not releasing Reputation TV in 2024. I think because of when I asked this and now when I'm filming this, which is after the VMAs, there's almost no way that anyone's clowning for Reputation TV to be announced this year at this stage. I think everyone's come to terms with the fact that, that's just not happening. Ever since we found out that the Torture Poets Department was coming out this year, I was firmly in the camp of, well, we're not getting Reputation or debut in 2024. Whether we get an announcement or not that it's coming in 2025, I don't know. There's still a few Eras Tour dates to come. We've got until the end of December for that to be made clear to us, but I'm definitely in agreement. We're not going to be seeing Reputation TV in this year. And, as a resident clowner, I think more recently, since the last show in London, I definitely have been of the opinion that we kind of maybe need to stop clowning. I'm a bit over it now. It was fun while it was happening for maybe six or 7 months that I was like really invested in clowning. Not super seriously. I was having fun then, and I think the fun's kind of over. Like, let's just wait till it comes out. It's going to be amazing when it comes out. Like, let's not get our hopes up too much. It'll come when it's ready, and nothing's going to impact Torture Poets Department's success. Let's be completely honest. Yeah, fans who became fans during Reputation or Lover era annoy me more than new fans who became fans during Midnight's Torture Poets Department and eras. First of all, did you want to hurt me directly? Just say you hate me. You don't have to hide it behind a message on Instagram. I have further questions. Why? First of all, I feel like people that became fans during Reputation and Lover kind of became fans at a underground period, for lack of a better term. She was kind of in her least popular to the masses while still being a very successful musician. And I feel like if you became a fan at that time, it's kind of like you're an outlier to kind of what was happening for Taylor Swift at that time. So I don't know, is that annoying? I said during my big I watched every Taylor Swift tour video that even though I started listening and I kind of started becoming a fan in Fearless, Reputation was when I solidly became a Swiftie. So, are you trying to hurt me? But I'd love to know what you guys think. You're part of the group now. That's the important thing. It's fun now. I don't think there's any time where it should be frowned upon that you became a fan. It kind of feels a bit elitist. There was this, and it might be coming up later, so I might be speaking out of turn, but there was this discourse that was going around about a month ago on Twitter about how there are a lot of people who claim they became fans at debut, but they're not from the US. And Taylor didn't really become crazy famous until Fearless for most people. I'm not saying that you couldn't have listened to Taylor Swift, but there's next to no possibility that you happened upon her on the radio, right? Until Fearless really came out. At least I'm thinking about Australia. Fearless was where it started for us. We heard our song, but it was different, right? It wasn't on the radio. Like Love Story was on the radio. You Belong With Me was on the radio. And some of these people are also younger. So like they would have had to have been like very young when debut came out. So it was like really unlikely. So I think there is a capacity to clown on those people that are clearly overstating their fandom. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't like people using their fandom to make themselves elite in the fandom. I think that that's really wrong. Everyone likes her. You know what I mean? We're here to like her. You're not better for having liked her first. Okay? So next up we have, I wish that she would give artists like Billie Eilish, Charlie XCX, and Chappell Roan a shot at #1 on the charts. She keeps releasing those stupid live versions of songs and it's ruining their chances. So there was a post that came out from Billboard that literally said that even if Taylor hadn't brought out one of her re-released live singles, I think it was when Thank You Amy came out, that even if those digital sales hadn't happened, Charlie XCX or Billie Eilish, I can't remember who it was that was competing at the time. Maybe it was Chappell Roan. Anyway, that they still wouldn't have made #1. Like Tortured Poets Department still would have been #1. And I think it's really easy for us to all get in our little like bubble, our little fandom bubble, especially on twitter.com. And think that, I mean, let's be completely honest, like most of the people that are watching me are probably Taylor Swift fans. Predominantly. I'm of the opinion that you should be able to be a fan of many people. Your music taste should be as varied as you want it to be. And I certainly love every single one of those artists, including Taylor, of course. And like, just kind of be real with yourself. Yes, having Taylor Swift release music in the year that you are releasing an album, until the re-records stop, don't make music, maybe. If you care about charting, don't make music. I also think, like, do you have to get a Billboard #1 for everything to matter? And who's buying the digital versions of Taylor Swift songs? I'm so sorry. I am such a fan, but I could not give a fuck about those about those re-releases. Like, it's not for me, and so I'm not buying them. And just like most of our other fans, like if they don't want to buy something, they won't. It's just if you want to buy it, you will. And so like, I don't necessarily think Taylor is hoping and praying that every single listener goes out and buys those, of course. That would be silly. But on the off chance that you do want it, yeah, that's going to probably help her. And I'm sure that there are people that buy it specifically so that it helps her on the charts. But I don't know, guys. Like, I think there is a part of this discourse that is just silly. And I think a lot of it is literally misogynistic. Because you are pitting women against women for what? For what? This is obviously a bigger topic, but I really hate that kind of stan culture where like, oh, if I like Ariana Grande, then Taylor Swift is the worst. And Taylor Swift is out to get Ariana, and they can't be friends and can't know each other and care so much about hating each other. Like, it's so boring. That discourse is literally so boring. Shut the fuck up. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think if you really think that 1,000 sales or listens to those extra releases was really going to change the difference between Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, Billie Eilish from being #1 over Taylor, then you might maybe need to do a little bit more research and also stream more. Stream your faves more. Buy your fave stuff more. If you care so much. Work harder. I gotta roll my eyes at that one. I gotta really roll my eyes at that one. Calling the original versions of the songs the stolen versions drives me insane, and I wish that it would go away. I would say that this one is kind of more of a low stakes opinion, which I like. I like having low stakes and not having me pop off. They were stolen, but it does put a negative connotation on them. If someone says that they're the stolen versions, it might make people feel, maybe the person who wrote this might feel bad about wanting to listen to the stolen version or the original version of something because there's a Taylor's version and people think, that money's not going to Taylor, or at least not in the capacity that the new ones are. So, there's obviously a bit of shame, I think, social shame, in listening to those original versions. I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with calling them stolen versions. I think it's funny and true, but I also think that if you want to listen to the original versions, there's nothing wrong with that. And Taylor even says there's nothing wrong with that. She obviously made the new version so that she has ownership of them, but if you want to listen to the originals, there's no one stopping you. They're available online. I also, just personally on that kind of topic of listening to the originals or listening to the new versions, I personally don't listen to any of the originals except for a few on 1989, and it's only because they'll come up and shuffle. And that's just because I like the production on some of them a little bit better, but it's not going to stop me from listening to the new ones either. I'm not hell-bent on it. I definitely think that if you want to listen to the stolen ones, the originals, there's no shame in it. If anyone makes you feel bad about it, they need to calm down and touch grass a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't drive me crazy, obviously, that things are called stolen, because I obviously don't have an issue with it, but I can understand where that sentiment comes from and kind of a layered response of maybe where that thought goes, if you know what I mean. I want Rep TV so bad, but I'm scared I'll hate it like I hated the changes in 1989. I guess I kind of touched on this just then. I have that fear too, because obviously she's not going to be using the same production. And you know what? If I'm being completely honest, I hope in a way that she doesn't use the same production, because as much as I love Reputation is one of my most cherished albums that she's brought out. There are some things that are crazy that happen on Reputation production-wise. There is a heavy overuse of hi-hats. There's so much that is just heavily overused. And I think if polished and kind of made better, with different producers having a hand in things, you know, maybe it will sound better overall. It'll sound different, but it'll sound better, I think. I do a little bit have a fear that it's not going to sound the same, but then at the same time, the originals aren't going away. Do you know what I mean? So if you really want to listen to Reputation, hey, guess what? It's still available. The only thing that's going to be new for you is the vault tracks. And yeah, they're going to sound different, but we also never really heard them before. So I don't think that necessarily, I definitely understand. And I know a lot of people also talk about, oh, well, the album cover is going to be different now. Hey, Reputation still exists, actually. Yeah, if you want to listen to it, you can. But I also think that a lot of people make the 1989 differences way bigger than they are. So Style is the one that comes to my mind, and that's one that I listened to the original of, because the production is quite different, and I noticed it when I was listening to it the first time 1989 TV came out. But at the same time, I got used to 1989 TV Style, and I think that you too will get used to Reputation TV's catalog. So yeah, I understand the fear. I also think we'll get over it. Hey, we'll get over it. Carrying out paternity tests for each song ruins the experience. Try to relate it to yourself instead. I also feel like that was directed directly at me. Someone went, I'm actually gonna hurt pastelsparkles today, and I'm not gonna feel bad about it. That one's crazy, hey, nah. I've said this before in videos, I think it's fun to speculate who songs are about, because often it makes things easier for me to digest. If I haven't experienced something that Taylor is singing about, or any artist for that matter, I will take the extra knowledge that I have about a song and have it help me understand the concept of the song. I definitely understand there's an element of parasocialness that goes on with the paternity test argument, and I definitely agree that we probably could do with taking a step back and not thinking about who every song's about and just take it for what it is. But Taylor has also made it a thing in her career to look at those things. She literally was doing it on her early albums where she would kind of spell it out, literally, who the songs are about. And so I think there's an element of people feeling a closeness to her by being able to work it out. But at the same time, she is a person, and we don't know her in reality. I definitely think we could be less crazy about it as a collective, the Swiftie collective overall. I don't think in reality it's hurting too many people. I think that if it makes you think negatively about the person who it's about, like in a way that you bring them hate, yeah, that's really wrong. I don't like that at all. I don't like that no matter who it's about. I don't think that that's really cool at all. And I would definitely agree with you in that capacity. But I do think, yeah, there's an element of it that it's fun. You're like a sleuth, but don't go too far with it. Next up, we have too many Swifties make being a fan competitive. I've been a fan since before Debut came out, and I'm no better or less than a fan than those who started listening at Midnights or TTPD. I guess I brought this up before, but I completely agree. Like I've already mentioned, yes, I think that a lot of fans are too competitive about when they became a fan, how much they've listened, how informed they are about Taylor. There are people that have an encyclopedic knowledge that use people not knowing certain things about her to make other people feel bad, which I think completely goes against what Taylor talks about and against what Taylor's whole discography is about. So I do think that if you take an elitist approach to being a Taylor Swift fan, you maybe have missed the essence of being a fan. Yes, I completely agree. I think that there are a lot of people that started listening to her at Folklore or even later that are, maybe bigger fans than me in much capacity. I've obviously made this a bit of a thing by talking about it on YouTube, but, just because I listened since Fearless doesn't make me any more knowledgeable than someone who has just recently become a fan since the Eras tour came out. Next up we have Taylor Swift fans are just as bad as Kanye fans. And because I know who sent this to me, I have to laugh. I mean, sure. There is a difference though. There is a deep anti-Semitism that is within a lot of Kanye fans. I know a lot of Kanye fans have disassociated themselves from that element of being a fan, but there's a lot of really bad things that Kanye has said that a lot of fans have stood up for, and Taylor has never said anything even kind of close to that. So it depends on what you mean as just as bad. If you mean just as bad as in being a rabid fan for her, yeah, I can agree with you there. It depends what you mean by just as bad. And obviously this opinion is coming into the lion den because obviously all of us here, fans of Taylor Swift. How many of us here are fans of Kanye? Probably a few. Surely a few. I mean, yeah, I would love to hear what people think about this. If it's about being annoying, yes, I agree. If it's about being a good person, no. I don't agree. And the last one here we have is, my unpopular opinion is that she should do secret sessions again. I understand why she won't. Fans going crazy, people feeling left out, etc. But to me, this is what distinguished her from other artists, and she truly got to conduct herself in a way in front of her fans, not screamed through the media, TV, radio, etc. I loved watching Secret Sessions YouTube experience recaps. Now, for those who don't know what a secret session is, they were events, essentially, that Taylor would host before an album came out. So the one that I know the best is the Reputation Secret Session, and I'm pretty sure there was one for Lover, but I think since COVID, she hasn't done one. I've watched a few people's secret session recaps, and the impression that I got from them, I don't want her to do them anymore. I think she's far too big, and I understand that the person who wrote this comment also knows that she's far too big and has far too, that it would be, I would say, far too dangerous at this point for her to do that. She would invite people to her house. So she had, I believe it was her New York home, her Nashville home, and then it was her LA home that she would invite people to. There might be other places. Yeah, and it was a pretty small group of people, I want to say. From what I remember watching, like no more than 30 people were there, and it was super secret, and you couldn't bring, I believe you couldn't bring your phone in, you would be provided food and everything, but you were locked in for 6 hours or something like that, where she would come out and talk to you, you'd take photos with her, and she would show you the songs and explain you the album and things like that. It does seem kind of magical, hey? I mean, I'd love to know what other people think about this, but I personally don't hope she does that for a number of reasons. She's too big and I think it'd be too dangerous, but kind of the bigger reason that I think she shouldn't do it, other than that, it has created a real sense of elitism. I've talked about it a lot over the opinions that have been shared with people that did go to them. I don't want to name and shame people that I've watched who went there and gave recaps, because I'm not in the business of doing that. I would rather speak about people highly and name them. But the people that I've watched that went, they talk about it like they really deserved to be there, and they were such a fan, and some of them almost spoke ungratefully about having gone there. and it just made me feel like shit watching it. It was fun to watch in a kind of documentary sense, like, oh, this is what happened, this is the kind of things that you would experience, and like I couldn't believe that she would invite people to her house and she had so much security and there was all this la 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 la. I much prefer Taylor inviting people, fans and content creators and things like that, to either be the 22 hat recipient or invited into the VIP booth in the Eras tour. I think those are a much better compromise. Obviously it's not as personal and obviously it's not as exclusive, but I think that there's benefits to that as well. It's not as exclusive, so people can't make people feel bad because they didn't get chosen. And I think there's a lot of people currently, especially in the US, there is a lot of YouTube creators that are Taylor Swift fans, bigger than, you know, what it was on Tumblr, which is where she was pulling a lot of people from originally. And I think that because there are a lot of people, let's say in America, that are Taylor Swift YouTubers or Taylor Swift content creators, it would create like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be a fan. I'm obviously not a fan enough by Taylor and Taylor's team standards that I'm not able to be chosen for this opportunity. And I think that sucks, because could you imagine that you spend all of your time dedicating your content, your life to Taylor and her music and being a fan and, you know, putting it in everything, and then you didn't get chosen? That breaks my heart. There's so many people that I can think of that are so talented and are so good at what they do and talk so much about her and that they really are like pillars of the community. And could you imagine if some of them weren't chosen? I don't like that possibility, and it just makes me really sad. I would hate for anyone to think that they're not good enough, not enough. Like, that just makes me so upset. So no, I don't agree that she should bring them back. I think that they were fun. I liked that they happened in the past, and I also completely understand why she would probably never do it again. But I would love to know what you guys think. Maybe I'm overreacting. I would love to know. Yeah. Hey, this is a conversation between me and you. Oh my God, that is something that's so funny about doing this all the time, is whenever I'm an avid comment responder. I will respond to pretty much anyone's comment, and I'm of the opinion that if you are small enough to do so, you should be responding to every comment. But there are so many people that comment back to me like, oh my God, I can't believe you responded. Like, yeah, that's why I make YouTube videos, so I can talk to you guys. Hey, we're all friends. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate it. There are so many things that are happening and so many things that I want to talk about on this channel. Like I said, October is going to be crazy, and I hope that you're all so excited for it. I'm doing some stuff that is less music related, less Taylor Swift related, but I am injecting Taylor Swift into them. For example, I have some PAX plans. PAX, for those who don't know, is a massive gaming convention that is happening in Melbourne next month. I have been invited as a creator again for the second year, and I'm going to be making a video about it. And yeah, gaming, what does that have to do with Taylor Swift? Don't you worry, my friends, I have plans. So keep a lookout for that. There's going to be lots of fun stuff happening there. So yes, keep your peepers peeped. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a bloody thing. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and I will see you all next time.